and things doesn't bother me as much, I could see it. It bothered me that I catch it right away because Vila was telling me to observe my pain. And I see that, so I stop myself. So I'm so interested in learning more.
Yeah, I think that's a good progress in a short time.
Thank you.
Okay, so good. I also started online, meaning it's online now. It's live on YouTube.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, it didn't record all our introductions, but anyway, it's good. So in brief about non-dual. So first you need to know what is dual to understand what is non-dual. So the duality is you exist and something greater also exists together. Okay, so when we say that, example, I recognize you as Tina, even though Tina really doesn't exist, but my mind says that you exist, and Lata exists, and Aryu exists, and this world exists. So everything exists, and all relationships exist, and all experiences exist, right? That's our experience. So we can't say that no, the experience is not real. It is indeed real. See, if there is a pain, if I press my hand, or since you're a dentist, I come to you and you say that, hey, you know what, you are now non-dual. So open up your mouth and I'm going to do whatever I want to do, and there's a pain is there, and I can't say that, look, I am non-dual. That means it is an illusion. There's no pain. Who says there's a pain? Right? So that's what is duality is all about. That means we associate with the pain. Okay, we cannot disassociate with pain. It can be body pain or the mental pain, the agony. So now that is what duality is. Non-dual is that either one is a fake, is not real. Right? So what is Vedanta is, or non-dual is, that the consciousness is the only reality, everything else is part of it. So most of the people don't get it right because it becomes conceptual. That is this conceptual reality. We're talking about concept, but we're not able to see how really it is fake or it is illusion. So like what Aryu was earlier introduced to is non-dual. Okay, so non-dual in the sense that there's no longer duality. That's the world and you are the same. So that is illusion. What exists is only the consciousness. Because there is consciousness, you're feeling the pain. If there were no consciousness, you wouldn't feel the pain anyway, which is true. So if you put an what we can say, anesthetic injection to my gums or to my wherever you want to put it, and after some time I don't feel any pain because the sensation has been removed from that. That means the nerve has been blocked. So the nerve sending the brain receiving the message of the pain is no longer there. That means for that moment the consciousness is not moving in that. So, and hence the person doesn't feel the pain. It doesn't mean that there's no pain at all. There is absolutely withdrawal of the pain. So the pain has been withdrawn because there is no consciousness. Just like if a person gets a paralysis, is that in that arm, in that leg, in that face, in whichever part of the body, the consciousness is gone. So when we say paralyzed, it means that the person is no longer able to feel the consciousness or the energy flow between two places. So just like we have, let's say we have a circuit and a circuit is broken, then the light doesn't come. It doesn't mean that the light is not there. It doesn't mean that the electricity is not flowing, but the electricity should require two places to be connected in order to flow. So that's Vedanta's all about. That means if you become consciousness, then everything else melts off. There is no reality separated out of consciousness. That's a very nutshell 5-minute explanation of what we discuss every morning at 8:30.
So just my quick introduction. What I was looking for is just, Tina, it's another path for liberation that's rooted in like Hindu tradition, more or less, right? That's kind of what I want you to introduce me. It's not such deep. I just
You just wanted to tell that what is a label. Yeah, it is in the...
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
I
label.
think
So
you're
I
maybe
went into the
confused Tina a
bottle.
little
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. And then I could see Tina's face shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. She totally got... I don't know what is he speaking. Right.
Yeah.
So basically, Tina, in a very simple words, if I were to say, let's say you have 100 bulbs in your home, right? And then electricity is passing through each one of these bulbs. And if the bulb were to stop functioning, you just throw the bulb. You cannot throw the electric current. You cannot, right? That electric current is the consciousness, and the bulb is an individual. The individual, that bulb is operating because of consciousness. The bulb has no its own entity by itself. It cannot independently function. And non-dual means it's not independent, it is dependent, which is what Buddha teaching is also all about dependent origination. So it is dependent, right? The bulb is dependent on the electric current. So if the bulb goes away, that doesn't mean that electric current went away. Only the bulb has expired. So what you do with the bulb is throw the bulb and replace another bulb, right? So all your mental impressions will move from one bulb to another bulb, right? So now a person can be 100-watt bulb because he had so much of punya that, or good deeds, that he can light the whole place like the devas. And a person can be a 10-watt bulb which cannot go beyond a little bit of light, right? So no matter how much the 10-watt bulb tries to become 100 watts, it's not going to happen. Okay, whereas the 100-watt bulb has the capacity of 10 watts as well as 100 watts, right? So this is how Vedanta works, or non-dual works. So we are interested in the electric current rather than the bulb. Got it? So now
That's
we
a
have...
con-
Yeah, go ahead.
So that's the consciousness.
Yes, that's a consciousness. Now we have 4 bulbs here. One is Ayu, one is Tina, one is Lata, and one is Vilas. Okay, the intensity of light of the bulb is different, but the electricity is the same. Right? If you know that everything is the same, then what happens? You become conscious. You're a conscious existence rather than the bulb. If I take myself as Vilas, then what happens? I become the bulb. So my intensity is to whatever it is designed for. So that becomes dual. That is, I exist and the consciousness exists. And I don't see the dependent origination between the bulb and the electric current. I feel I'm existing independent of this electric current, which is what I think I am right now. All of us. So we have families, we have office, we have this, we have that, not realizing that it is all dependent on consciousness, not dependent on what I think I am. Right? So this non-dual and Buddha teachings almost go in line with it. Okay. The only difference between Buddha Dhamma and Vedanta is that the beginning of... That's a train which runs near her home.
No, it is not a train, Vilas. It is a holy celebration which is happening down. So I will mute myself.
Okay. Sure. So the thing here, what you need to know, or we all need to know, is that the Buddha Dhamma and Vedanta is the Vedanta starting is good. Buddha teaching is also good or excellent. Both are excellent. Starting. The middle the Vedanta has much twist and turn, so you need to really get through it. Okay, whereas Buddha Dhamma is step-by-step approach, so there's nothing like you go and hunt for everything or anything. So it is, middle is also excellent, and then the end. The Buddha Dhamma and Vedanta, they both are same, meaning to say that once you pick it up, once you know what it is, then it is same. So both are excellent. People get caught up in the middle, not in the beginning, nor in the end. So when they start in the beginning, it looks the same. Oh, what's the difference between Buddha Dhamma and this? And when they come to the middle, there is a problem, because now you can interpret the things the way you want to interpret. Okay, the best analogy I could give you on Vedanta is electric current and bulb. So at present we are 4 bulbs. We are not electricity as such. It doesn't matter whether your children also has the same electric current flowing in them, and the dog you have, or neighbors, your owner who wanted to not give you the property, etc., and all of that, and our office jobs, what we are doing and what Aryu is doing in the office, all have electric current running through their body. That's called energy, or whatever we want to call. In Chinese, you can call it a chi, and in Hindu tradition, we can call it as prana, and then we can call by various names. But what is really, life exists, right? So you cannot have a minute of existence without that electric current.
So to simplify maybe, so once you realize you're the electricity, you're removed from the suffering of being the bulb.
Yes.
So if the bulb doesn't work, you're not suffer, you're not bothered. Your arm break, you're not bothered. It's just
exactly,
the bulb. So once you realize your true nature.
Right.
So you stop the suffering. That's the both lead you to realize you're the electricity, not the bulb.
Yes.
Wow.
That's the easiest explanation I could give you in Vedanta. Okay, so let me end this Vedanta conversation.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll take the second question first, and then the first question second. Is that okay? About her collection of Buddha statues.
Sure.
Okay, make sense, Tina? And then I don't.
I show that.
What's that?
Yeah. To show you. I have to show Lata so that she knows what we're talking about.
Yes. So now you need to show her what we're going to talk about. Yes, you're right. So she has a shrine, Lata.
Can you see?
Yes, we can see, but it's
Yes, I can see.
It's slightly
But it's blurred as the background.
Yeah.
But I got it. There are different kinds of statues.
Yes, there are
Yes.
different kinds of
Yes,
statues.
yes.
So now the question arose in our discussion. We have a California discussion group. Okay, right now we 3 are there. There are no other Californian there. So, and by the way, I'm not a Californian in the first place, but they have added me as part of California. So anyway, so the question here is, which is the Buddha? And as per Aryu, it is the center one, which is the Buddha, and the remaining ones are not Buddha. And then Tina is from Vietnam. So in her Vietnamese temple, she's been told that all these are Buddha. And there comes the photograph.
Wow, good.
Yeah, I shared the picture in the group.
You shared the picture in the group. Okay, I thought that she did it. Okay, great. So now the discussion would be, so I had replied that it is collection, kaya. I didn't go anything further. And then these 2 guys got confused what I want to say. Okay, so the objective is to first clarify that, and then we go to the other topics. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to that. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 statues there. As per me, none of them are Buddha.
None of them are Buddha.
None of them are Buddha.
Okay.
What is okay? You have to fight with me. Why? There's no okay in that.
There's one, the Buddha.
No.
The white one, because the monk gave it to me.
Okay.
I donate to the temple, but the monk he's pretty famous monk, and he held the Buddha, and they said that if the monk gave me the Buddha as the blessing, so the white one was the monk, and then the rest I bought it from the temple.
Right. Right. I agree. That
So there is one Buddha behind Vilas also.
Uh-huh. That's the background.
And that's the
Background,
background.
yeah,
But that's not Buddha either.
The Buddha.
Okay, now what should we do? How do we solve this problem then? So Aryu feels that the center one is the Buddha, and then I'm saying that none of them, and you're saying all of them.
I'm just saying it's more like a typical Buddha image, like what the Vilas has put here.
Yeah, so let me explain to you from how we need to see it. Okay, now if you go by tradition, exact tradition, so the center one is from Theravada. Okay, so in the Vietnamese tradition they have a different one, but if you go by the Theravada tradition, the center one is the Buddha which everybody uses. Was Buddha really like that? Nobody knows. Okay, and at that time there was no photography or video or anything to say that this is how Buddha looked. So we have no idea of what we are categorizing itself as Buddha. And by the way, Buddha is not a title, it is a state of mind. So it should be Gautama if we were to really identify. It's not the Buddha at all. In any way, it's not a Buddha. Okay, so that's really wrong. Okay, if we go by the way of what we are trying to learn, then we shouldn't be identifying it as Buddha. But anyways, conventionally we can say. Now, if it is conventionally, all of them are Buddha. Right? All of them. So to answer to Aryu, she has her temple filled with what she calls as Buddha. It's fair. Okay. Now, why this happens is what I explained yesterday from that you create something, it ends up in pain. So when you create, you imagine. When you imagine, you conceptualize. And when you when you come with an idea and then you conceptualize. So when we create a concept, Buddha becomes a concept. Okay, and when Buddha becomes a concept, you need to have a theory of that. And when theory comes, then theory also has traditions. So now how many traditions are there? We have Vietnamese tradition, we have an Indian tradition, we have Sri Lankan tradition, then we have Cantonese tradition, we have Laos tradition, we have Hong Kong tradition, then we have Japanese tradition, we have Chinese tradition, then we have Tibetan tradition, then we have Thai tradition. Right? So we have so many traditions. Now, which one is Buddha then?
Everyone is.
Either everyone or none of them. Right? So the problem, what happens here is that when we conceptualize something, and a story has to be built upon that. So the theory gets into a story making, and when the story making happens, then we're already in a distorted perception, right? And it ends up in pain. So when I was looking at what you both were discussing, I found out that Aryu is saying that the center one is the one, because that's what I'm being introduced to. I have never seen the other ones. And then you say, no, that is, in our temple we have seen it, right? Now you're right from your angle, that's a view. So always views gets into debates, debates, and debates ends up in arguments, and the argument gets into fights, and then all the suffering will start from there. So if there were no creation at all, then there wouldn't be any pain.
True. Now I see it.
And that is called dual. You suffer because of creating something, right? Now, how do you solve it? Now, I'll solve it in two ways, one in Vedanta way and one in Buddha's way. Now, you'll come to know which is easier or which is tough, right? Whichever way you can take it. Or non-dual and Buddha, right? So we'll take the Buddha and then we'll come to non-dual. What is Rupa? You tell me, what is Rupa?
Form.
I know it's form. I didn't ask you to translate into English.
You mean the 8 dhatus?
Okay.
Right. Like
fine.
in the,
Yeah.
sure.
So now in that temple, what our friend has, there is, are there any laughing Buddhas there, Tina?
Yes, I
Yes.
think so. That's a laughing Buddha.
How do you know?
Because he looks so cute.
No.
Laughing.
What is laughing there? See, you have 3 of them basically,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there are 2 of them in a, what I can say, in a clothed or in a leaf fashion, right?
That's they call the female. The mother, like no, it's a female version,
Right.
and yeah, she's like a goddess.
Yeah, she's the goddess Tara. Right. So you know what? You're following mixed Tibetan, mixed Theravada tradition. Okay.
I think I'm greedy. I want it all. I get all the blessing from all the Buddhas.
Yes. Fine. So now if you were to see what are these, they are Patavi, earth element. If you were to touch all of them, including the table from where you kept it, you will not find a Buddha there.
Right.
You will never find even one. Okay. Now, if you were to see that it has got solidified, some of them are wood and some of them, I think the other 2 are made out of porcelain or something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and if you see the shapes, you've been informed that this is laughing Buddha. And how does Buddha laugh? Do you know that? Have you seen Buddha laughing? No. And this is called as sanya, perception. What is untrue is taken as truth. None of us have seen Buddha's smile. Buddha's smile is there. There's a sutta which talks about how to smile. But there's no sutta which explains how to laugh. Okay, so now the question comes, why it is there in the first place, that laughing Buddha? It's there because of trying to get into the Brahma realm of existence. So if you were to practice the 4 Brahma Viharas, that is, you have loving kindness and compassion. And the third one is called mudita in Pali. Also Sanskrit has mudita, same, there's no difference. It's appreciative joy. So in appreciation, you'll start laughing or feel so happy about every being which is doing very well. Every being doesn't mean only human being, every being. It's got what it wants to get at that point in time. And in case you feel like that, you would be like that laughing Buddha. And the other 2 which you are seeing like a motherly thing is that when you are totally compassionate with everyone, so you feel literally like that. Okay, now where this is stated, so I will also refer to that. It's called Karaniya Metta Sutta. In that, Buddha says that you should look every being like a mother's only child. the mother has only child. That's the only child for her. There's no husband, there's nobody left in that family, only the child. And she's so worried about that child. So she does everything for the child. So you should look at every being in that way. If we could do that, then the other two, what you're showing there. Okay, and then the center one. That figure is in upekha, that is equanimity. And normally Buddha statue is equanimous. So it has a peculiar smile when you are equanimous. And that is one we like. Right? So if we were to take it, are those Buddhas? Answer is no. Deeper within, yes. Right? Meaning minds, yes. So now the question comes is, where do I find this? Where do I really find Buddha? So what's the answer? You know it. Let me see how much you remember. I can't ask Tina nor I can ask Lata.
You mean how to find the Buddha?
Yes. We have spoken over it for many times.
I mean, you practice.
No.
Right? Okay.
No, I do the same thing with Lata. So you wouldn't be an exception to the rule. I want to see.
I need a hint.
No, you already know it. There's no hint to be required. Okay, where do you find Buddha? That's a hint.
Oh, where do you find Buddha? In
Our heart.
I mean, I know the definition of Buddha.
Yeah, please. You can say whatever you want. It's okay.
I mean, you gave a definition of iti piso bhagavato arahato sammasambuddha.
I never gave that. It is what Buddha is. I never asked that. Where would you find Buddha?
Where would I find Buddha?
So every awakened person is a Buddha.
Every awakened person?
Is a Buddha.
No. That is correct. But where do you find it?
Where do you find Buddha?
Now that we have kept those artifacts there, and we have made it into a prayer room, or where do you find that?
Within you.
No, that's not the answer. I'm only targeting Aryu, so you are exempted, Lata, and anyway, Tina, I cannot ask.
Okay, I was trying to help him.
No, you can't. From a Vedantic background, you cannot help him.
I don't have a clue.
Okay,
I
leave
mean,
it.
okay, where would I find Buddha? I mean,
Okay, leave it.
yeah.
Fine.
Sorry. Okay.
You give up.
Give up.
You will find the Buddha in the Dhamma.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
So there is a Pali verse also. Yo mam pasati,
Yes.
so dhammam pasati. One who sees me sees in the Dhamma.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I just said that to someone yesterday. So
I know that you know it. I didn't say that you don't know it.
yeah.
I think you told me.
Yeah. I maybe I told you. Yeah.
See, this is where the problem comes when you only recite and you don't know, or you're not practicing it as per that.
That's true.
Even if somebody were to hit you and ask you, where do you find Buddha? And that is the last breath, you should be able to say, I find it in the Dhamma only, nowhere else.
No, I will never forget.
Okay, so now, what I said yesterday is that these are collections. What you kept is a collection. It's called Kaya. It has Patavi, which is earth element, Apo, it has water element, Tejo, it is fire element, for Vayu, it is the air element. So if you were to go and smell, you'll find a different smell in each one of them. So that will be Vayu. So if there is Vayu, that is wind or air, it will always have some scent, some smell comes to your nose. So if you have fire, then you will have some nutrients in that. So if you were to melt all of them, you get nutrients out of it. If it's plastic, you get a particular type of nutrient. If it is paper, you get another kind of nutrient. If it is pulp, it is another kind of nutrient. If it is wood, it's another kind. If it is porcelain, it's another kind. So you will, because clay, so it will definitely have nutrients. Okay, so it's called as oja. So Vayu will have gandha, that is air element will have smell, the fragrance or the scent. The right word for gandha is scent, not smell. Smell is what you smell or what you take. It's not actually smell. It's a scent. So there's a scent. And then if there is tejo, the heat element, so it is cold, but it's still an heat and cold is same. It has temperature. So if whatever has a temperature, if you were to burn it or do something with it, you will get the nutrients out of it. Now you will say, who is going to eat that? There are creatures which are going to eat it. So if you are having wood, then you will have so many insects who would love to feed on that, which you know. So if you take termites, they drill it completely. Okay, in plastic, there are a lot of bacteria which will be feeding on that. So you will have nutrients in that. So if there is a tejo, then there is this oja. Then there's apo. Then what should happen? It will become liquefied. So you will, if you burn it, you will get some liquid thing coming out, oozing out. So that is because of apo. And if a patvi, you will either find it as soft or hard, smooth, rough, all that. So what those things are, what you have kept is collections of 4 elements. That's all. So now your mind is at peace because there is no creation. If something is created, it would be destroyed. If it is the basic element, there is neither creation nor destruction. So if somebody were to throw that away, would you be upset? No, because why? Buddha is in the Dhamma, not in that objects. Okay, as a reference, you want to keep it. So this in Vedanta is called as Savikalpa Samadhi. That is, you imagine something and keep it for reference, because I cannot get into the nirvikalpa, non-imaginative state of mind. So non-imaginative are 4, which is 4 of them. It will be infinite space and infinite consciousness, and then nothingness, and neither perception nor non-perception. And these are referred as arupa jhana, which means that is without any material. There is no vikalpa. There is no what we can say imagination. The other 4, that is the first jhana, second and third and fourth, you get into vikalpa, that is an imagination. So when you sit in front of those Buddha statues, as many as you've collected, you said in your office you have more than what you have at your home. So when you sit in front of it, you basically would get into a state of mind wherein the remaining in the sense your dentistry and clients and whatever gets erased away and replaced by this Buddha. So you feel peaceful. And that's the reason you go to the temple. Because you want to forget your natural tendency of the world things and you want to push this. Okay, so from a Vedantic perspective, non-dual perspective, if I were to answer the same thing, okay, there is no answer in like this. It only says that consciousness is the only real and everything else is unreal. So basically what you kept there, I don't know what it is. It doesn't qualify to be called as a Buddha. But I would say they're joined together. So that has happened due to consciousness. So I will say consciousness is the only reality and the remaining things is an illusion. And you would say, what? I can hold it. It's weighing. Then I would argue, if you take it on moon, it weighs lesser than what you're weighing on Earth. If you take it to Neptune, it doesn't weigh at all. It flies. So the gravity is dependent on what? On where you are. So gravity is an illusion now. And I can see Tina is completely frozen now. So let me not get into this argument. So both of them talk the same. Both of them exactly talk the same, but the way approach is different. So non-dual approaches in a different way. Buddha goes by what can be experienced, not by what can be conceptualized. But ultimate end, they both will give you the same experience. If you were to get that middle one, that center one, you will get the same. So going from the Buddha's or Gautama Buddha's explanation about it, what you have kept there are 4 elements, which are collection. They're just collection. They're just there. So if it falls down, it again becomes the same. So first law of thermodynamics is matter can never be created nor destroyed. Energy can never be created nor destroyed. But matter can change form. Energy doesn't change any form. It remains as energy. So when you drop those 6 things that you have there, they change form. They will become different now. It'll break and you'll no longer be able to associate with it unless you fix it and then call it as a Buddha. But it doesn't. Whereas energy, which is holding to that, is the same. Irrespective of if it becomes 100 parts, it still is holding it. So that's the first law of thermodynamics. And the second law of thermodynamics is that the natural state is going towards the cold, not towards hot. And that we can see everywhere. That is what kayatena dukkha is all about in Buddha's teaching. That it just keeps on diminishing from what its present state is. So you take a tea and you keep it in open, after some time the tea becomes cold. Same thing with our body. It becomes cold. That means the consciousness is departing all the time. It doesn't stay with you. Right? And that we can see in our breath. But we don't see it. That is a separate issue, but that's where we are. Right? So that is called as entropy. Now you have to put more effort to create that energy. How? You need to keep on eating, keep on doing things so that it gets replenished. If by chance I don't eat for a few days, the body starts to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and it dies. Because the fuel goes away. So as long as you're adding fuel to it, it's going to burn. But if you remove the fuel, you're extinguished. That is what Buddha teaching is all about. Don't put fuel. It automatically releases. So the holding is gone. Right? So the collection is gone. There's nothing more to collect. And when you don't have anything to collect, you've given up the collection. So there is no way you're going to come back to any state of existence because you need to collect something to become something. So if there is no collection, you'll not become anything. If there is no becoming, then there is no birth. If there is no birth, there is no death. And craving is the cause of collecting something. Like you said, I'm very greedy. I want to bring all the Buddha statues. Like that, we are also, greedy of this or that. So when there is craving, there is clinging. I cling to that because I need it. It's mine, right? So it's mine. So I am doing enthalpy. The very scientific word, if I could use, is enthalpy, meaning you have to add more force to keep something in an equilibrium. So you can see atoms coming together, but their original nature is to split apart. They don't stay together. It requires a force to bring them together, and that is called as ordered. Actually, world is disorganized, unordered pairs, whereas we bring it. That means the whole universe comes together to break up. Right? So we are part of the same universe. It comes together due to a cause, and you remove the cause, there's no longer the world. Okay? And that is called as loka, world, which is rising and it passes away. So none of the atoms can stay together even for a minute unless force is applied on that. So the force application is what we call as energy in science. And that is in Chinese called chi. And in Hindu text, it's called prana. And if you take Buddha, it is pana, P-A-N-A, which is equivalent to prana. It is Sanskrit and that is Pali. Okay, pana. Now we come to precepts, or what we were supposed to discuss about the 10 immoral deeds. So I brought you back to this. So if you stop collecting anything at all, impressions to anything on a minute by minute basis, then you're released. You're always happy. Because the burden is gone. Now you're so holding it. You've dropped the very holding itself. So going back to your 6 of them, we can solve this by that 5 aggregates. So rupa is what you're seeing. So the moment I see it, this is the statue, right? So that is rupa. Now there is a feeling which comes. You feel that, right? Right. Then there is a perception, and the perception says, these are all Buddha statues. And then you do something about it, and that's called sankhara, or Sanskrit word samskara, or volitional action. So you do a lot of actions through eyes and ears and nose, tongue, body, and all that, and mind. You do something. If you go to the Buddha statue, you revere and say, okay. And if you go to your lab, or to your clinic, you're not going to do this, right? To that clinic. Why? They both are the same. Yes or no? This is also held by energy. That is also held by energy. So how does it really matter whether you do that to your clinic, or you do this to your patient who comes to your clinic, or you do that, or you don't do it at all? It doesn't really matter. But how we are conditioned to believe sanya, perception, and sankhara is that I do something to something and I don't do something to some other thing, because I've been told that for this you need to do this, and for that you shouldn't be doing it. Okay, and in India there is very peculiar thing happens. So there's a temple, and people are going on their bikes or cars or whatever, and some people get down from that bike. They park their bike, but they are too lazy to walk to the temple. So what they do is they leave their footwear near the bike and stand and do like this. Okay, is that right thing or wrong thing? There's nothing right about it. There's nothing wrong about it. It is the feeling which makes them perceive that that is a temple, and I need to be good in that temple, right? He's not gone inside the temple, from the outside. And then he does a sankhara. This is punyabhisankara, meaning it gives him merit. Right? And then he sees a female coming that side. Now this temple is there and the female is there. Now his eyes will go to both of them. Right? He'll first see the temple and he sees like this. Because he doesn't want to miss that also and this also. Right? So after he does this, he just watches her and she passes away. And then that is apunyabhisankara, because now he has the kamachanda, which is nothing but the sensual lust, which has arisen in his mind. So the question comes, would that nullify? That is, he did this to the temple and at the same time he watched. No, he collects that, he collects this. Both are there. Both will be there. It's like somebody asking, will the weed also grow in the pot and the flowering plant also grows in the pot? The answer is true. They both will grow together. It doesn't mean that it will get erased off or minused or whatever. No. There's nothing like I do 10 punya and I do 2 papa, so 10 minus 8 equals, 2 equals 8. So I have collected 8 coins of punya. No, they both will be there. Whichever one gets the more strength, that will get developed. So the aspect here is that if we look at what we are doing on the 5 aggregates, so using the rupa, we are creating the feeling arises. And when the feeling arises, it comes with some kind of perception. And then the perception is there from what you have understood. Okay. And then you do some volitional action. And you become what you think at that point in time. So if I prostrate to 3 of you, I become what I think. So I think you are me and I'm prostrating to myself. And that is in Indian tradition, Buddhist or non-Buddhist, it doesn't matter, is called as Namaste. If you have heard that word, even in Vietnam it is there. Yeah, it is there.
In yoga, they say that all the time at the end, namaste.
Namaste. What it means? It means namaha tu te. I prostrate to you, which is equivalent to prostrating to myself. You got the point? So I don't see any difference between you and me as far as electric current goes. The bulb is different, but the electricity is the same, which is running through all of us is the energy, which is or chi or prana, whatever it is. So that's what is flowing. If you cut that, then the person no longer is there. So I'm prostrating to you, who is equal to me, and hence I'm prostrating to myself. So I keep it here next to my heart and then I say namaste. Because that is where you are. The mind is. Okay, so that's the basic thing. So Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa is from there. One who has
that's what I told you, Tina, about the translation of what you have. The other day you showed me some text.
Yeah.
Revering the Buddha. That's what Vilas just said. That's paying homage to the Buddha.
Yeah, I pay homage to Buddha. So the problem with English is that you lose all the emotions associated with it. It becomes bland, just like, you don't have any life. So anyway, so the thing is, when we do like this, when we really see what things are in the 5 aggregates, you don't hold on to those aggregates because they are independent. They're not dependent on anything. So if somebody says, I am, now the question comes, who is this I am? Is it Rupa? And the answer is no. Is it feeling? It's no. Is it perception? The answer is no. Is it the deeds what you're doing? Is that you? No. Is it Vijnana, consciousness? Answer is no. Why? Because the consciousness in each senses arises based upon the condition. So if I'm doing a seeing event, the consciousness is there only. It doesn't arise anywhere else. If it is, I'm hearing, the hearing is happening and the eyes and everything goes away. It is only hearing and then tasting and there's only touching. There's only smelling. At any point in time, one consciousness takes over. There's nothing like all of them are together. But there's an what I can say, it goes so fast that the LED bulb switches off, but it is not fully off. So the next one is lighting, and the next one. So it gives you a circular reference, which sees like you're having this during this Christmas or whatever festivals. They put those bulbs, and it seems like you have the serial lights, right? So the consciousness is like that. It creates an impression that you exist, whereas you don't exist at all. There's no you at all. So the moment you remove the consciousness, the other four will open up like this. And that moment you are deathless, because there was never you in the first place. If you exist, then you die. If you don't exist, then you don't die. Simple. If you exist, you are in pain. If you don't exist, you are not in pain. And for that, there should be creation. If you are created, then you will be destroyed. No matter what you do, you add as much energy as you want, you will be destroyed. The bulb is going to switch off. No matter, the electric current is running there. That's what this collection is all about. Now we come to the 10 moral deeds, not the 10 immoral deeds, because then only you can see what is happening. Meaning, how do you really go in depth? So what Buddha did is that he created a structure.
May I get some water?
I think you should. Yeah, are you? I think you're silent.
I don't know if you've confused Tina, because even I couldn't follow all the time.
Okay, so which portion was difficult?
No. I could follow, but I mean, you're bringing in a lot of new concepts, I think, for Tina. So I mean, even I have to put effort to try to keep up. I'm not sure Tina can follow. Maybe she can.
No, we will.
I can.
Okay, so let's address the concern. So now he is concerned that you are not following. So let me ask you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Are you able to follow?
Yes. So
100%.
I'm trying to digest, because I know what you explain is, this body right here is non-existent. It's
Yes.
just a bulb. And what the energy, the currents that driving us is the real one that stays. So
No.
even if we pass away,
Yes.
it's the body that just crumbles and it's turned into another form.
Right. If there is sankhara, if you have created something, then it has another existence. Okay, so in the 5 aggregates, if I'm attached to rupa, meaning I create rupa, meaning I create form, like the Buddha statue, 6 of them what you have. So if there is a form, then you will never get rid of the feeling. Correct? So you get a pleasurable feeling, you get a painful feeling, you get a neutral feeling. Right? Now when you have this form and the feeling, you will perceive both the form and the feeling. Right? You perceive, I'm feeling painful, I'm feeling pleasurable, I'm feeling neutral, with relation to that what you're seeing. So out of for you, we are three of us. So when you see, you perceive that there's somebody sitting. So it can be a pleasurable feeling for you, it can be a painful feeling for you. You perceive,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Then you do something about it. If you like, you want to get associated with that. If you don't like, you want to disassociate with that. Yes or no? And that is called as sankhara, which means volitional action. Okay till here? Okay, then there is consciousness. What it does is, it literally does what These four will do. Meaning, based upon that form, feeling, perception, and what you're doing, it will make that real. You feel really out there. You feel you're Tina, as an example. So if somebody asks you, what's your name? You say Tina. You will not even blink a second. Hey, hold on. When I was born, I was not Tina in the first place. Who is Tina? I'm not Tina. But you will say, I'm Tina. Oh, I say. And then you will say, I am from California. And you feel California, actually. There's no California out there, but you feel it. You feel so much to it that you feel, right? So that you become what you think. Okay, that is Vijnana. That's a magician, which keeps on giving you the experience of whatever you think. If you think that I have a child, you'll automatically feel that. If you think that I have a friend, you automatically feel that. If you think that I have a home, you automatically feel that. But when you remove the rupa, when you remove the form, does this feeling, perception, the volitional action and consciousness, does that exist? No. How? Let's try it out. When you're in the clinic, do you remember home? No. It's erased. But when you come home, can you remember what is happening in the clinic?
Oh, I do think about it.
You only think, but really you know what has happened there?
No.
No. Let's take that. Let's remove that. Let's say you're talking to us, three of us. Now you don't remember your home, nor you remember the clinic. Yes or no? You only remember the room now. You don't even remember the entire house. Yes or no?
Right.
Actually, you really don't know anything called as home. Just try it out. You'll see the fun. Forget the clinic. You don't even know you're at your home.
If I remember my home,
Then only you feel the home. So when we are conversing deeply, you forget everything. Right? And that is the magician which does this. And it is called consciousness. So when the form is removed, the associated feeling, perception, actions are removed.
Just like you get into a dream, right? In the dream, you forget about everything else because the form there is what you see in the dream.
Yes. And when you get up, there's no longer any form. So there's no longer any feeling. There is no longer any perception. There is no longer any volitional action you have done in that dream. And there is no consciousness to take you back to that dream. Right? Our waking state is exactly the same as the dream state. There's no difference. But I say, no, what are you talking? Oh, I have my office tomorrow. I think you're gone crazy. I think you should go into mental hospital. Yes. And that is called as duality. So this also exists and that also exists. My office also exists and consciousness also exists. Where are you going? To my office. Okay, so the question should be asked, when you were born, were you in the office? Say, I don't know. Right, so were you in your home when you were born? No. Hospital, who says so? No, my parents told me. Were you aware? No. So when you were not aware of that, how can you now say that I'm aware that I'm at my home? That's equivalent to a dream. So this problem, Buddha solves in 5 aggregates. So he says that is feeling you, are you feeling? And then some people say, yes, I'm definitely feeling. So which one? I'm feeling pleasurable. Then what happens to the painful feeling then? It's gone. Okay. After some time he asks, what feeling are you getting now? Painful. Then where did the pleasurable feeling go? It's gone. Get it back. He says, I don't know. I don't have authority to get it back. Then how did you feel the pain in the first place? Then it's a good question, right? I need to really investigate and see. So you remove the rupa, feeling goes away. Why do we cry over a dead person? Because that rupa is dead. So I feel pained. When the child is born, why do I really enjoy? Because the rupa has come. So as long as that rupa is there, it gives me comfort. When the rupa is not there, it gives me discomfort. So if the rupa were to be real, then all these are real. If you remove the rupa, all these will just fall away. And what is rupa? Is those four elements, what we just now discussed. So if somebody asks, do you have Buddha? The conventional answer is yes. But there's going to be fight. Now, Vietnamese and Thailand and this one and that one and Zen and hundreds of discussions and hundreds of fights, argument, distortions. And then one will say, this is my way of looking at it. This is how we've been told. My temple is the best temple. Ours is the biggest temple. What's the difference between a Chinese temple and a Vietnamese temple? And I was reading what is there. That Laughing Buddha has a Chinese script there.
They said it's Vietnamese.
That is Vietnamese.
All Vietnamese. That's what I don't know. But the person.
No. The leftmost one has Chinese.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw the Mandarin script.
Yeah, I think this is like getting more money or something.
Yes, I wanted to type it out and see what it means in Mandarin. Yeah, anyway, you answered that. So now you see this fun, right? So the conventionally, if you take, it's real. But if you really break it down and see, it's unreal. If you go behind unreal, pain is the only reality. If you go behind real, and that's real anyway. So there's no pain. So you have solved the suffering. Okay, now for the first one, to do that, is you need to identify that every being breathes first and last. So myself and Aryu, we had a lot of discussion about ventilator and this and that. But in general, it's the first breath and the last breath. Okay. Now his question is very deep. He had sent me some pig thing saying that, okay, where is that now? Has the Gandhabba, or rather the mental body, has it left before or later, or is it leaving now, and all that? So he's a very inquisitive person. I really love him, the way by the time I wake up, in case by mistake, if I open WhatsApp, I have to stop my walking, because he'll be sending every 2 minutes one question. Okay, I have one quick question. I have another quick question. And this is my another last quick question. And then I feel so much to answer to him, but my entire schedule will go for a toss. So what I do is I just answer him briefly. Yes, no, I will talk to you later. Because if I answer one, he's not going to stop there. He's going to add to that. No, that day you said this, but then you added this, and now which of the one is right? So I need to be very careful with Aryu in whatever he is going to ask me on the video or audio or whatever it is. So that day I told him that now I see everyone as a vegetable. Okay. So then he asked me from yesterday or so I said some days ago. Okay. Then he said, But in one place you said yesterday, and in other place you said some days ago. You tell me which of the one is right, whether it is some days ago or yesterday. Actually, it doesn't matter whether it's some days ago or yesterday. So, but then I need to answer to him. I think myself, yeah, he's right. He's picked me at the right corner. Now I don't know what to answer, because the thing is that he goes so in depth into it. I really love this guy, not because he's trying to follow me, but I really genuinely like him, that he goes so much into the video and he writes notes, and then he has shared that with me. I really feel so happy about him. I have not done so much myself, which he is doing it. Okay, and then that really motivates me, the way he does it. So now coming back to this question is that you need to understand every being is breathing. Okay, every being. Now to whatever we know, so we don't have to look at the heaven and Brahma realm and all that, because we have not seen it, so we don't really have to worry over it. So whatever we can see in our waking world is that every being breathes. Can be from what we can say, ant to, let's take humans. So from there, whether they are born in soil, or that is earth, or they are born in water, they're born in air. These are the only three places they can be born. Okay, so any of the beings which are born in these three breathes. Now the first thing is that when I cut the life of that being, what is that I'm doing? Is the question I need to ask. I am stopping its karma or its deed to be stopped so that it again comes back, which is going to add into my kitty of ignorance. Because it's like cutting myself. If I know that I am breathing, and if I know that the other person is breathing, what's the point in killing that person? Because anyway, I will be dead some days soon. So let's say I have got 10,000 breath and that being has only 4,000 breath. And then I have killed it at 2,000 breaths. And then what happens? Anyway, 10,000 it happens, it automatically I'm dead. So I see this and I feel that, what's the point? Why should I do an action using my body to do something which is so stupid? So I will not harm any breathing things. So the Pali verse is Panati Pata Veramani Sikkapadam Samadhiyami. That means I will have a samadhi, that state of mind, where I will not harm any breathing things. If they are breathing, I will not harm. I will not take a sword, I will not do this, I will not use anything that can cut their life and harm them in one way or the other way. I'm not going to kill them, but what about just hitting that on its head? I'm not killed it. So, but it's a pain. I'm inflicting a pain. So that infliction will have its own implication. So what would happen, I'll tell you. When I'm walking, I'll just fall down. And just because I have fallen down, not the entire human race has fallen down, right? So I've fallen on the road and I have twisted my ankle. I think that will solve around 10,000 beings or 20,000 beings who were hit by me with knowing or without knowing. That pain is sufficient. Excruciating pain is what I need to get. So I got it. Right? Now I don't have hairs on my head. What if I just get up and this thing hits me and I start bleeding? In that, at least I can get 100,000 to 200,000 beings whom I had deprived of something where they were bleeding. That's sufficient, right? I didn't die, but I got the pain sufficient to take care of it. Now I might say, no, that happened due to my own negligence. But the question comes, is this going to happen with every person who sits here? No, right? It only happened to me. No, I think somebody came and she removed the video. Yeah. So it's okay. So
Do you know what Vilas is talking about, Tina?
the first precept.
Yeah, do no harm.
Yeah, right. So I think you're talking the karma you're gonna get
Yes.
for hurting, right?
For hurting.
bumping your head is due to the karma that you hurt others.
Yes, absolutely. Which I might say.
No, I was wondering if Tina caught that.
She didn't. Okay. No, what I was saying is
She
that
didn't.
what I was saying, Tina, is that let's assume for a fact that I have done some harm to many of the beings where they were bleeding, right? Let's say. Now I get up and there is, what we can say, I have this bookshelf here, right? And then I go like this and I hit my head. Then it starts to bleed. I can say, due to my own negligence, I did it. But actually, it's a gift for harming so many beings. Because why did I do it? Why did I go and hit? There was a condition. There was a reason I did that. So there's a cause and an effect. As long as the cause doesn't come, the effect is not there. But when the cause is there, you cannot remove the effect. You have to have the effect. So everything is so well integrated that until the cause happens, the effect is not there. So it's all about conditionality. So if this condition doesn't come for me to get up and hit this rack, book rack, nothing is going to happen to my head. Okay. Now, if I have not harmed a single being, it will not get into any problem at all. No matter where the book rack is, I will not hit it. Hope you are able to get what I'm trying to say. You look, Tina, you look really perplexed.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand.
Okay.
So
I think he's just saying, like, he's saying when you hurt so many beings, the karma is such that one day you will hit your head and bleed.
You'll bleed. And that day when I bleed, that would take care of at least 100,000 of beings to whom I had hit. Like if I have killed so many mosquitoes, cockroaches, lizards, they all will bleed to death. Right? So one shot is sufficient. There's so much of bleeding, and then I go to the doctor, they will stitch, and they say that, be careful, I don't know, you are bald, so you should be taking care of it much often. And then I say, yes. Right? So does that mean accidents always happen? No. Does that mean accidents will not happen? No. If the condition is right, it happens. But if you remove the condition itself, then accidents won't happen. You got the point? This is what Buddha Dhamma is all about.
So if you did not harm and inflict pain on others, the pain, you wouldn't suffer that pain.
Exactly.
In this case.
Yes. As long as cause is there, effect is going to be there. If there is no cause, there is no effect. Clear? So that's the first one. And then the second one. If a breathing thing is there, what is trying to do? Search for food. That's all it can do to sustain life. What else are we doing? We are going, working in the offices, earning, going to the supermarket and buy vegetables, fruits and grains and luxuries or whatever it is. It's all food. And we bring it home. And the beings also do the same thing. They might be birds, they might be insects, they might be animals, they can be whatever. They are doing the same thing. All humans are doing the same thing. Okay, now I find Ariyu, his wife works for Apple. Okay, and then I love Apple products. I swear it. Okay, now if I buy it in India, it's going to be super expensive. So I will tell him, hey, why don't you get this for me? And then he says, pay and you can take it. I'll say that, look, I'm giving you so much Dhamma. Should you not donate something to me? And then Aryu will say, look, if my wife doesn't like all this Dhamma business, it's only me who's doing it, and I can buy it, but using her ID to get this, let's say I want an iPhone. So then I'll say to him that just buy the iPhone. No, what's the problem? And he says, yeah, Vilas, I can do that, but do you really require an iPhone? And outside I say, no, it's not really required, but inside I want it. So I have beg, borrow, steal, right? Three things I can do. So I'm begging, and our friend doesn't seem to understand that I want it. So then, can I just borrow iPhone for a few days? Are you, if that's not a big concern to you? And then he feels unhappy actually, and then he feels what kind of Dhamma teacher this guy is. But anyway, and then since the teacher is asking, he cannot say no to it, right? And then he gives it to me, let's say, and I and he were in California. Now that I'm in India, I cannot do that. So let's say I'm somewhere near California, and then I drive to his place, I take his iPhone, and then I go home. I go to my monastery, basically. Okay, because I am a teacher. So, and then this guy keeps on asking, hey, Vilas, you're supposed to give back my iPhone. I said, which iPhone? He says, I gave you that iPhone. Which iPhone? I don't remember you gave me any iPhone. I thought you donated it to me. Didn't you? He says, when did you ask me to donate? You remember that day I was talking to you about you should do dana, and then you said, yes, you're going to do something, and then this is the best dana. I always thought that you're going to donate. And this guy says that, wait a second, you never told me that. I say, now I'm telling you. Okay, now the third one. I couldn't borrow, and he fought with me and took the iPhone away. Then steal it. Okay. Now, here is the problem. These three, beg, borrow, steal. All the three will take me to animal existence, no matter what Dhamma I speak. So I should ask anyone to donate or to give or ask as charity or whatever that is. If they want to do it, it's not my problem. But if I don't want to get into animal life, because if you see all animals, they keep on taking from someone. They don't know that they are not supposed to steal because they're in search of food. That's all they know. This is a mental food. iPhone for me is a mental food. It's not a physical food. It's a mental food. That I have that craving. That iPhone is beautiful. Or the watch, the iPhone, that Apple Watch. And then I say to people, they shouldn't be wearing Apple Watch, right? But I then...
Sorry. I'll go grab a power supply. Keep going.
Yeah, please.
I'll be right back.
Oh, sure. So then I say to Aryu that, or anyone, that they shouldn't be wearing that these automated watches because it's not good. It will be testing your pulse and all that. It's not good for health. But I really love it to wear myself. So this is called as hypocrisy. I say one to someone, I do exactly the reverse of the other. So that's called hypocrisy. So if I have any one of these attitudes, that is either beg, borrow, steal, or hypocrisy, they both take me to animal existence. No matter whether I'm a good in Dhamma or bad in Dhamma, it doesn't really matter. It is the worse way of doing it. So I need to really practice to get out of it. Because stealing is highest greed.
I hear some water running. Is that from your place or my place?
I don't know. Maybe you should check it out. Or are you?
No, I'm not. I don't hear anything.
I hear only your voice, Vilas.
Okay.
Yeah, I think probably Tina does.
What was that sound?
That's because I unmuted, right? There's a program going down.
Yeah.
Do you guys live somewhere close?
No, we stay very far away. So it will be like a one day, what we can say, excursion to either my home or to her home.
Same city, but very far.
Not too far as a far, but traffic wise far.
But same city.
But same city. So it would take roughly around if I were to reach to her home right now, it takes me 2 hours to reach. In the traffic.
Understandable.
And that is better. The better approach is to talk on the video. It's much comfortable. So what I was saying is that stealing is highest greed. Because I would resort to stealing only when I'm in the highest of the greed, where I need to satisfy right now. So that immediately brings in animal trait in me. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to immediately donate it off. So I feel like asking Aryu to get me an iPhone or a watch or whatever thing that is, and then I will say, let him only have it.
What?
Let him only have it.
Okay.
And if I practice that, it becomes dana. You're just giving it off rather than holding it, because that takes me to an animal existence. And how do I know it is an animal existence? You see, from cat to dog to whatever, to lizard to even spider to anything. They don't mind stealing from somebody's home. Right? So something, food is there, they just go.
The squirrel.
Yeah, all of them do that. All of them do that. Now, if I do that, beg, borrow, steal, begging is the worst thing I could ever do, because that literally deprives me. Even if I'm born as a human being, it ends up being a beggar. The people who keep on begging, hey, could I beg for this? Could I do that for that and all that? So that is begging. And borrow, same problem. Steal.
I would think begging is better than stealing because you're at least asking.
No, that's correct. In a relative level, yes, but they all intention is the same. Beg, borrow, steal.
Okay.
So first I start to beg. Hey, can you not get me that watch? And you get bugged up by my question. And every Dhamma discussion we are going to have, in the end, I'll say, I think you should be donating something to this temple. And then I'll say, Buddha wants that watch. It's not for me, it's for the Buddha. Right? And then he says, when did Buddha start wearing watches? But this Buddha would wear watch. That Buddha will not wear, but this Buddha anyway will wear watch. So that is begging and borrowing. Can I borrow it for a few days, and then ultimately ends in stealing, because the greed will make me exactly do what an animal would do. So that's the second one, is animal existence. And the third one, there are two versions of the third one. The first one is the immoral sensual acts, not sexual, sensual. What is immoral sensual? Let me tell you, is like this. Somebody has a Prime, they have Amazon Prime subscription. Then I want to watch a movie, and then I'm going to say that, hey, why don't you share that user code with me? I just want to watch it for a day. And they will say, yeah, you can do that. Anyway, I paid for the whole month or for the whole year, right? So that's a sensual misconduct. Can't I afford that? I can afford, right? If I want Prime or Netflix or some stupid thing I want to watch, I'm earning and I can pay for it. And why should I, ask someone? This is sensual misconduct of what kind? It is sensual misconduct of sight. I want to watch something. for free.
I'm doing some sort of similar thing of sharing some account with someone. I better stop doing that.
Yeah. No, he better stop, not you.
No. I'm also like, I'm sharing with someone to share a account, even though like we're not supposed to.
Then don't do it. Then you're going to end up in problem. Okay. And then somebody goes to an ice cream parlor, and then I can pay for myself. And that other person wants to give me an ice cream, it's okay. But I know that I can buy ice cream for him also as well as me. But what I do is I'll just stand in front of him as though I'm not interested. And then he keeps on asking, why don't you have an ice cream? And I say, yeah, I generally don't eat ice creams. Okay. Then he cannot eat because only two of us are there, he and me. So in general is that he just cannot buy ice cream for himself, and he only eats and I look at him. That anyway is not going to happen. So he says that, Vilas, I think you need to buy something. Hey, don't worry. You don't have to pay for it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask him to get me the cost list of the ice cream. Right? That's essential misconduct of taste. Okay. And like that touch, a girl has come to my home and then I feel like touching her in every given place, which is molestation, within somewhat I would like to do that, and then I feel comfortable in touching her hand or whatever it is. I feel I should be doing it. That is sensual misconduct. Like that. So then I go to an orchestra or some place, and I want to sit in the front row, and I request, and I go there, or I push myself, or do something, some stupid thing. It's all six senses. If I were to use for sensuality, is sensual misconduct. So I need to refrain from doing that. Then comes sexual misconduct. This is sensual. This is purely sexual. Is that I feel that I need to have some women. I can buy women, let's say. These all are sexual misconduct. So both misconduct shouldn't be there. Now my question comes, what happens if I have? How does it matter? Again, I'm going back to animal. So two of them take me to animal existence. Okay, that is the stealing and the sensual misconduct. The first one brings me new lives. So better I don't kill anyone.
I'm sorry? Killing someone bring you new lives. What do you mean?
I keep on this. I need to take on new bodies to exhaust that karma of that being. Right. See, if I was a mosquito, what is the probability of somebody hitting me all the time? Most of the time, yes.
Pretty high, yeah.
Pretty high. As a human being, I might not get hit that much. What if somebody comes and slaps me? I'm just walking on the road, and then somebody wanted to do something, and he was just making his hand like this, and it came and slapped me here. Just imagine there were around 10 mosquitoes. All the 10 would have died, right? That's the pain I'm going to take as a human. He didn't have any intention of slapping me, but he was just waving his hand, and I kept my face, and it came and hit me, and he says, I'm sorry. And I say, okay, it's literally paining. And my jawline is also paining. That's sufficient. That would take care of accounts getting settled. So I need to do that. So if I don't want that, I need to refrain from killing any living beings, or not killing, harming any living beings, because they have breath. So these three. This is by the body. Then 4 by speech. So 1 is lying, 2nd one is slander, 3rd one is harsh speech, 4th one, which we all do, is just keep on talking nonsense. what is the definition of nonsense, is that I'll talk about a country. I'll talk about some civil things. I'll talk about some fun things. I'll talk about movies. I talk about some shows. I talk about this, that, time pass, what we call as time pass, right? I'm feeling bored, so shall talk something. All of these four, they don't get me in animal existence, but they will not allow me to go beyond human existence. So what is going to happen is I'll be put back in the same place where I belong. So if my idea is not to be in human existence at all, then I need to refrain these four things. Lying, slander. Slander will take me to a existence which is filled with pain. So I might be born as a human being, but there's a lot of pain. Like if I'm born in Iraq or in Afghanistan or in some other place, where you really see torture, because slander ultimately creates torture. You might ask how? Because I'm talking behind the back of the other person and creating enmity between two people. And that's the whole idea of slander. So when that person is not there, I keep on adding fuel to that other person, saying that this guy is not good and so and so and so. It's just slander. So basically, I'm eliminating the goodness of people and going to land myself in a place which is going to exactly do the same, meaning I won't have any friends at all. And that is what slander is going to bring. Harsh speech, again, the same problem is that it makes you a human being, but will be born in a community which is very harsh. So you have to go through that hardship yourself. Okay, so the traditions will be so harsh that you have to endure that harsh. Because their speech will be so harsh and you are part of that. Then this whiling away gossip things, which will bring you back to human civilization. And most of the 99% of humans gossip.
Because it's all about the conceptualization of this and that, this sports team, that country, politics. It's all human life is about, right?
Yes.
So it builds up the energy to become human and keep doing this thing.
Yes, you keep on doing that very thing. So these are four by speech.
Sorry, can you go in depth into lying? I don't think you.
Lying.
Lying. What?
Okay, what would lying do is that it will bring me back in human in a what I can say. Nobody is going to believe me what I say. That's max it can do. If you see, some people are really good, but they're never believed. They're never relied upon because there is always a doubt in what he says. And that's because of persistent lying. Okay, now there's a difference between lying and adding something, right? So when I'm speaking something, like the other day, I said it happened yesterday and it happened few days ago. Is that lying? If we were
exaggeration,
yeah. So if I were not exaggeration, it is what we can say, not able to exactly put it. Okay, that doesn't come under lying, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be careful of what I'm speaking. Lying means a deliberate one. So there is a sutta called as Kunda Sutta, CUND. I'm going to share that link, so don't worry. So if you go through that, there's an explanation about what is lying. So there is a court, somebody is taken to the court, and then the witness is asked, did this happen in front of you? The answer should be yes or no. That's all. It should not be story making. Okay. So that is...
Yeah. Kunda Sutta is what I share with Tina. Like that's the one she's referring to as per the 10 moralities.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So in that sutta only you can see that is lying. That means you say something which is not true. And also half truth is also lying. Okay, now the question comes, okay, in business, in profession, in that, how can you be so straightforward? Now, if you don't want to be reborn in human realm, you have to be. That's a choice. So there is nothing much we can do.
Quick question, Vilas.
Yeah.
Quick question. You talk about all these consequences of hitting the mosquito and then getting hit. Like, where do you get that? Is that like a sutta that says that, or is it because now you can see that somehow, or where do you get that?
There are references, but there's no direct sutta. It is there in Aganna Sutta. It talks about from the Brahma realm to the each realm of existence. In that you can make out. You can make out how the being is going to come down step by step. Just like water is flowing down step by step. So, but there is no direct referential sutta. Even in, there is another sutta which will talk about penance. In that also he says that there is a consequence you need to take even for the smallest of the hitting or doing something physically to someone. But there is no reference like, if you were to kill mosquito, this is what you're going to have. If you kill a cockroach, and this is what you're going to get. There's nothing like that. You have to make out. You have to make out from your own experiences that if let's say a fly or a mosquito is flying, right? The karma of mosquito is not the same as a human being. Okay, so it's not 1:1 relationship, right? So to become a human being, you have so much of purity that the mosquito cannot be compared to that, or no animal can be compared to a human being, right? And no deva can be compared to a human being, even though the devas will have their own negativity, which might be even finer than humans, but that doesn't mean that if they do something, they will become human being immediately. That's not true either. But there are certain actions which will bring you if you were to develop it. So like what I was saying in the second and the third one, that is the stealing and sensual misconduct and sexual misconduct. And I'm going to bring that. I'm going to get that kind of mentality sooner or later. Right? So let's say there are people whom I know who watch the animal and human kind of relationship, sexual relationship on some pornographic sites and all that. Is it good or bad? You just see the mentality is that the person's mind is getting distorted, right? So it's the distortion has started, whether it's a female or male, it doesn't matter. So as long as the person is spending time on that, to that extent, the person's mental state is changing. That means his senses are changing now. It's going towards animal. He's feeling that he should enjoy an animal, or she feels like she wants to enjoy an animal. Okay, and sooner or later, that doesn't mean that right now it's going to happen. Sooner or later, the mind automatically takes itself to that form. So like that. So it's not that 1:1 relationship. It's not that, oh, you do this and you get this much and nothing like this.
Yeah,
it's being moral makes more sense than knowing, okay, if I were to slap once and then slap, I feel how many beings I would have killed, so maybe those many beings are gone. No, I can only make an analogy out of it and really not feel that, oh, I got a slap. So I'll also tell you another thing. I had this cut here on the finger day before yesterday. I was doing something, it got cut. So now it started bleeding. Then instead of curing the bleeding, there's one sutta where Buddha talks about there's an arrow and a guy is hit with an arrow and he starts to think from which direction the arrow came and who hit that arrow, whether it was poisonous or non-poisonous, whether I'll be killed or not killed, what kind of karma I would have done so that I got this arrow. Buddha says, forget all of that, first remove the arrow. Don't debate on that. So I shouldn't be debating about this thing that who did it and why now only it happened, what kind of karma I would have done or the deed I would have done that I need to have such a suffering. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but the general rule is you give pain and you receive pain back.
Exactly.
Right?
So
that's what we need to understand.
So what I need to understand from this finger, which is cut now in a very bad way, is that something I've done in the past, I'm getting in that way. That's all. Then leave the rest and then try to correct the moral values and be done with it, rather than, oh my goodness, this happened. And so this is about the speech, and then the three through your mind. This is more important. Okay, three are more important. So one is abhijja. Okay, there is no English perfect meaning to that. I will split both of them and tell you. Icha means liking. Abhi means high. So you like more than anything else. So let's say ice cream. I love ice creams. Okay, that is good. I love ice cream. That is the worst part. Right now, I cannot stand it. I really want it, whatever it is. So if some car is standing near my home, I'm going to plead him, please take me to the ice cream parlor. Or drug addict, like if I could give an example. That's abhijja. That one spoils the mind completely, destroys. Okay?
That's a craving, right?
No, it's beyond craving. It's not simple craving. There will be some people, right? They get totally worked up. Their body also starts to shake along with that because they want it to be satisfied. Why that? You see this Black Day sale or whatever that sale which happens in America, and then you see how people line up to be the first person to take that, right? That is abhijja. Black Friday sale or some sale in winter, and then they go crazy. So what I did is I wanted to see this happening. So when I was we were having the Halloween day, or we had Thanksgiving day or some day, so I went to the Best Buy store. So I went to that store, and then I could see around 100 people lined up in the night. And they were supposed to open the store at 12 a.m. in the morning. Okay, and then these people had lined up from 6 p.m. That is, they are going to wait in that for 6 long hours in the winter. Okay, at that time, Sony PlayStation had come. I still remember the madness of the crowd and the pushing and abusing and fighting and brawl and everything happening on the road, right? So and the Best Buy store fellow said that, hey, don't make sound here. If you want to stand, it's okay, but that Sony PlayStation thing is going to open up only at 12 a.m. But there were people going up and down in that store, but not for the PlayStation. So people were lining up for the PlayStation. So when we went to that store back at something like 11:30 p.m., my goodness, there's so many people. And the Best Buy store was filled with people. Okay, and there were 5 of them. And you should see the first guy going there as though life is full of that PlayStation.
Are all the people who lined up there have abhijja?
Absolutely. Otherwise, they wouldn't be standing there in the first place. So I went to buy a Nintendo Wii. At that time, the Wii had come. Okay, so at that time I had abhijja. I'll tell you how. So it was not there. I wanted to buy one more, and then at that time they had a rule that one per person. That means you cannot buy 2 Wiis for yourself. If you have 4 people, you can buy 4, but all the 4 have to come here. So we searched all across Indianapolis. We couldn't find it. Then we went into Carmel. There we couldn't find it. Then Kentucky, we were supposed to go there and try to buy it or get it from New York or some other place. But I was so obsessed with that. I wanted it because I'd seen it in my friend's home, and then he made me play for hours together. Then he said, Vilas, I think you need to have this thing. Wii is good. Then I thought, okay, he says I need to have it. And then I was staying alone in the apartment and I didn't know what to do. So there was huge, I had a TV and I didn't know how to spend time. I didn't have Dhamma then anyway. So at that time I would have been a different person. So we searched across the Indianapolis and all these areas, and I was very disturbed. So next in the office, all that I was doing was go to Best Buy, go to Target, go to this, that store, online, check, call them, when is this week coming? And that is abhijja. Okay. Icha is you like something, right? So now I want it. That is the kind of thing called abhijja. What it does, it destroys the mind. It distorts the whole perception itself. So in my perception, what I was seeing is only this big monitor, 44-inch TV, and then the devices, and then this play game. Otherwise, I have to wait till Friday night to play with him. And he used to come and he used to take to his home. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we used to have fun. But Monday to Friday, what to do? So I'd become an addict of playing games. And it had a yoga also on that. So you can do the postures and it'll show you whether you're doing a good posture and a bad posture and all of that. Then the balancing act, and then how much you weigh, and what should be your age, and all that funny things, right? And with my boss, almost got hooked on to golf, just like what Aryu is. So whenever he talks about golf, it's one of the most addictive game you can ever find.
I think people call it like opiate, like green opiate or something.
Yes. It's so addictive. Once you get it, you had it. You will lose your world. It just makes life becomes holes. 9 holes, 18 holes. 9 holes, 18 holes. So almost I got obsessed. And whichever area, whether I'm in Midwest or in East Coast or West Coast or whichever coast I go, the first thing that comes to my sight is the golf course. So,
because it's very, I think the reason I think it's very immersive, because you're in that environment for 4 or 5 hours, you get so much sense input of watching the grass and the sound of, it's very immersive. So you're almost in that for 4 or 5 hours, so you can't get out of it.
And then since all of my bosses were someone who would play golf, and then all the business decisions are happening on the golf ground. So we just hit one and then we walk around and have a beer and speak about how much we should increase the people in India or in China or this place, that place. And the whole strategy is happening. So it depends on how you're hitting the ball, right? So you're hitting in this hole and that hole and all that. So it was very funny. Actually, I got spoiled in America, to be honest. Okay, so I didn't know what I was doing, because the whole day goes in these meetings, and in the evening we have fun, and the weekends is all these bullshit things what we were doing. So abhijja then brings in irritation in you, or you feel agitated within yourself. That's called vyapada. That is, pada means you walking, and vyapada means you're walking down. You're literally walking down rather than going up. So the state of the mind will be that you're walking down. You're going down the drain, basically. So if I could see in that Nintendo Wii or in the PlayStation, or buying just for the heck of buying, and in fact, Target store, we used to go like crazy. There's nothing to buy, just go there, or Toys R Us and this place, that place, just drive around the US without knowing why am I doing this. So it used to be a fun ride. I mean, I'm not driving, somebody is driving for me, but we didn't know. And we went for IndyCar racing. So that was fun back then. So you just sit there and watch the car, who's going to, and you bet and you lose money and all that. So these are the things of vyapada. And Las Vegas was the worst, because every year in Las Vegas, lose money, have frustration of losing money, gambling and all kind of nonsense things which happens there in the Sin City. And before flight, my boss used to say that what do you do in Vegas, you live in Vegas. So all kind of dirty dancing things happening there, and come back, right? So if I were to see that life of mine, it's so much filled with these aggressive tendencies and very harmful tendencies. So that's a vyapada through mind. And third one is the michya-ditti, which is wrong view.
Sorry, just to add a little bit to that. So Tina, the vyapada is the second one, right? The second of the mind,
yes.
Immoral deed.
Yes.
And if you get too much into like frustration, irritation, like anger, or you hate someone, all these kind of brings the mind down into like a more hateful, like angry state. And Vilas, when you say going down, it means take you down in existence, right? You become born worse and worse, existences. Because if you see like the lower people, like people who are in, I don't want to be discriminative, but if you say in poor countries or places, they're more aggressive, they're more likely to be angry. Like then you go to animals, more like that. So all those anger and frustration takes you kind of down in existence.
Right, absolutely. And then you can see actually that you get what you deserve in life, not what you expect in life. And that's what Dhamma will teach you. That, and when you are out of vyapada, that is being very angry and upset and all that, you can see that you get what you deserve only. Meaning, if you both are in one state of existence and Lata is in another state of existence, and you're having money or power or position and all that, you're doing good or doing bad or whatever it is not because it is destined to be that way. It is because that the vyapada is less. So you will never be deprived of something. For you to get into vyapada, you first have to get deprived. And then the anger comes out or the frustration comes out.
So you have to be stingy, like you have to feel it doesn't go per my wish, and then you become frustrated.
Yes, because you either turn jealous or you either turn stingy. And then that creates growing, that creates this tendency to grow, because you don't want to lose what you've gained. And that's all we try to do in life, thinking that this is the only thing I have. I don't want to lose something. Okay, and that creates anger and frustration. And when we have more anger, more frustration, we become more non-giving or not giving up. We burn ourselves. And when we burn ourselves, we burn ourselves to death, basically. Meaning, the next life, whatever life, you will be deprived, so that I can then increase my frustration. So that is vyapada, walking down rather than going up. See, now I see three of you, right? So now I feel that you're better placed. I see Aryu is most better placed. And then I feel Lata is even more better placed. That's it. And looking at my home, it's not that good. That's it. I've already started with vyapada. You got the point. If I were to only think in this way, little bit like that you three are doing well and I'm not doing well, and then I already created irritation in myself.
Basically, discontentment, right? Discontent.
Yeah.
Being discontent, like or arati is what you said.
No, arati is correct. No, that's not the one. See, first you feel irritated that why you have not been given that.
Mhm.
First thing is that why am I in this way, right? You should get irritated, number one. When you get irritated, you should get frustrated, the second one. And now frustration turns into anger, and that turns into jealousy, because somebody has it, I don't have it. So then all the immoral activities start along with that. So that removes contentment, like what you said. The final thing is there's no contentment in life because of...
So
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, quick question. This applies to every situation in life, right? Let's say I see my son doing something, I don't like him doing that.
Yes.
That also is the same situation.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
not exactly jealousy or anything, but
No,
it's
anger.
also...
Anger.
Right.
It's the anger. So it means when we are angry, if we were to take our picture and see, we would have become like an animal at that point in time. Our face changes.
The face will look not good.
So in
Like a
Dhamma,
voice.
it's going down to animal.
Yes. More about that. Okay, so then what's the thing is that I shouldn't get frustrated. See, when Aryu keeps on messaging me with questions, if that creates frustration, let's say, as an example, even though he's talking on Dhamma, and that creates frustration, it means that I am having deeper anger within me. Okay. Now it's just a while that I will explode on him. And because we are talking Dhamma, we are not exploding right now. But what if it were our own affairs? Like, let's say we four were colleagues in an organization. It immediately brings out. Now that we are talking a neutral subject, we all look very sane and very humanly and all that. What if it's a project? What if tomorrow is a deadline? What if you're going to lose your job? Then you're going to get terribly upset. That upset is already there within us. So that takes us at that moment. When I shout at a person, it makes me more animalish than being a human. Okay. And the last one in this series is the 10th one, is that it is some people will have a wrong view. So there are 10 wrong views that there is no special person as a mother, there is no special person as a father, there is nothing called rebirth, there is nothing called as deeds to be done, and that has a consequence, and there is nothing called as people who have understood truth. Okay, and like that, there are 10 of them. This in general is applicable to atheists, meaning he had sent me the right word of that annihilation. How do you say that?
Annihilation.
Nihilism. Okay, what it means is that after you die, you're not going to come back, basically. So there is a view, you get two views. One view is that you have a creator and that person created you. So it is his problem to take care of you now. Right? I go and tell the God, hey God, do something, I'm in pain. You know how much I've struggled to buy the Buddha statue. I paid $400 for it, and then you are not doing anything about it. Please do something. Right? And then I say, please. This is one way of doing it. And by the way, I have also built a temple in your name. So please take care of it. Okay. And the second one is that bullshit is that there is nothing like this. After you die, you don't come back. So enjoy your life. You don't have to be moral. You don't have to think about your father. You don't have to think about your mother. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to think about there is rebirth. You don't have to think that anybody is enlightened. It's all stupidity. Nobody gets enlightened in any way or in any sense. These are only fake. There's nothing like it works. So you get these two views. And both of these views are wrong views. Okay. What the last one does, it does one simple thing. It gives you rebirth only. Nothing else it does. You'll keep on coming.
You mean by not believing there's rebirth, it gives you rebirth?
Yes. That's exactly what it does. So then I say, I don't believe in this. And that's the very reason why you have been born. The last one is the most difficult to understand. The 10th one. You might understand all the 9. But when you practice all the 9, the 10th one becomes very obvious. Okay, so there are fights in our Discord. There's another forum, so there are a lot of fights on this 10th one. So I don't want to go into those fights. So I withdrew from that, saying that this is not going to work out. So now that fight is not there. But otherwise, there used to be arguments and fights over that, because it's not obviously visible. That when I say there's no person called as mother, that is true. But there is no special person as a mother. That's untrue. There is a special person in your life called as mother. Right? And there is no father. That is true. There's a role is taken as a father is true. But there is no special person as a father is untrue. But if I mix both of them, then what happens? I don't respect my parents. Simple as that. Which creates a problem. But then I'll say, okay, but we're just doing roles. How does it really matter? And all that will come. But in a very spiritual level, yes, but not in a conventional sense. So when we get these views, it creates problem. So what happens with that is that you only get rebirth. And if our objective is not to get rebirth, then we have to come out of the wrong view.
Like, to me, I feel like the not believing in rebirth is most dangerous in terms of you're not respecting morality in any way. Like, if you could get away with it, you would do it at no cost whatsoever, right?
So that rebirth not being there will make me do all sinful action forever. Because I believe I'm not going to come back anyway. So I'm going to enjoy my life. So you get two views. One is a theist and one is the atheist. So the theist view would be that God created us, so it's God's problem. It's not my problem. Right? So I'm going to the church regularly. Every Sunday I go to the church and I go to my prayers. I go to my temple. I go do this. I've done this. I've done that. All of it. It's again wrong view. This is one side wrong view. Another side wrong view. There's nothing like that. It's again a wrong view. And another thing, two wrong views will not make one right view. It's a wrong view is a wrong view. So that is also there. So the last one is tougher. The 10th one is tougher. So but if you do all the 9, the 10th one is easy. So with that we end. From collection to this.
Yeah. And out of the 3 mind, I think the Vyapada is very hard to do 100% of the time, right? We all get frustrated, especially like almost every, if you're a normal person, probably every 5 minutes you get frustrated.
So to be honest, my test has begun on 17th of January 2022. This year. Because I have been taken as an employee. So now it will be, the fun begins on all of that what I've said. All of the 10 things what I've said. So anyway, she's there. She's a person who is going to watch it over, that how much of these 10 things I'm doing for myself. So it will be good to see frustration coming in. Now I can catch. Okay, here is frustration. See, being one thing I like of doing what I'm doing right now is withdrawn from everything and talking about it is the most easiest thing, right? I mean, you don't have a job, you don't do anything, and you just do discourses on YouTube. Beautiful. You read and deliver. 100 people are going to listen. But what if you're given a test to exactly do what you're saying in a live environment? And that would really open up how much I have developed. So my test has begun on 17 January. So let's say now we are in March. So as long as it goes, so let's see how the equations are going to be. Because now, earlier people never used to ask me so many questions in the office as they're asking me, because I'm now a paid resources. So I have to book my calendar, I have to, sorry, not calendar, timesheet, and it will be built on the project. So then they're not going to let me go scot-free like what I was going few years ago in the organization because I was a consultant. Now I don't have the privilege of being a consultant. So I need to deliver. So when I need to deliver, all of these 10 things are going to come. So would I do character assassination? First thing. So that is the first precept. Would I do beg, borrow, steal? Second thing. Sensual misconduct? Third thing. Lying. Now, can I not lie on the project and be 100% truthful? Fourth thing. Will I not slander on somebody's back? Fifth thing. Will I not utter harsh speech? Sixth thing. Will I not spend my time in empty gossips? Seventh thing. Will I not have abhiccha? That means I want to get promoted. Eighth thing. Will I not get frustrated? Ninth thing. Will I not believe in rebirth? 10th thing. So I feel very happy that I've been given this opportunity to test myself whether these 10 things are going to work or not. So in one way,
so if you're truly about your status of anagami, none of the 10 will appear in the slightest degree, right?
yes, absolutely. So that's a test. So I felt very happy that they have taken me. I felt, wow, this is a good test. No matter what anybody says, it's a good test for me. So if I stick on like that and just do what I'm supposed to be doing, it's beautiful. Then she can certify. Then Lata can certify for what I'm doing on Vedanta, and also I'm doing for this Buddha teaching, that yes, this teacher seems to be okay. Otherwise, not okay.
Yeah, so that's what I said. Now we are on the level playing field.
Yes.
Before Vilas was sitting somewhere away and giving us discourses. Now come into our field and then show us.
Exactly. So I really feel happy. I don't even one day I have not felt from the time I'm going to office or this interaction, I have not felt I'm doing something extraordinary or doing ordinary or whatever. I just do, and I'm aware of these 10. So let's see how far I can be aware and how far I can really practice these 10.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Like for me, like it's easy when I was doing Dhamma that I don't have Vyapada. Right? I can do meditation, it's easy. But as soon as I started taking care of kids and he's not obeying, like then you would see it. Or if I'm doing code review for people and they see something very stupid, right? That's it. And immediately, as soon as you see that, you're like, why does he say this thing? And you're frustrated because it costs you time to explain and fight, and immediately brings the Vyapada to, but then you have to practice in that moment.
Yeah, good that you brought this up. I have a problem. Whenever people do exception handling, and they by purpose not have properly done exception handling, I used to get irritated at that person. Knowing very well this code is going to fail, how did you ever do this mistake? So as to get wild, literally wild. And then when the appraisal comes, that's the first thing I'm going to bring it up, saying that, how did you do this exception handling? Okay, and then by exception, right? And then they said, no, it happened. I said, no. You did it on purpose. So, so I used to feel really upset, and then I can understand especially code review is really a dirty job.
Yeah, because you take the code as yours. It's your project, and then someone doesn't know anything, comes and make changes that doesn't make any sense, and then you thought, oh, he's so ignorant in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And then you immediately have frustration.
And then when the people used to use looping, it goes and loops and loops and loops and loops and loops. I used to feel that, what is this guy trying to do? If loop, for loop, if that, this. I said, what stupid code you write in? You're going to take so much of resources going here and going there and going here, going there. No, you make one looping structure, not 100 looping structures. And many people used to copy and paste from the Google. And we used to blast, because then somebody will put a case. that this is my code and they have borrowed it from me. So I should get pretty wild. Now I have come back to the same place. Now, why I'm telling you this is that I've almost come back to the same kind of environment. All these days I'm just giving them some education. Now I have to prove it. So it's not going to be an easy ride. So let's see how much I've developed from 2006, when I was in the peak of this engineering cycle, to 2022.
Yeah, that feels nice. It's like you grow up from this poor village, and now you're a billionaire. Like you're returning to the village, and then you want to feel nice about going back.
No, I'm trying to scratch the surface and see whether the village life where I led has any changes happened in me from the city back to the village. That's it.
Yeah. So Tina, I think for you, I could see your frustration in your office when, let's say, people are not doing exactly what you think they should be doing, right? Like you told them many times, but they still not get it, right? Then you can see the boys will be a little different. There's some little impatience in there when you talk to them, right? Because it's almost like you have to discipline them into doing what you would like to follow your instruction better. But in the same time, if you pay attention, there's frustration in you. So you should try to remove the frustration, but still talk to them. That's like a difficult practice, but I think that's what you should try to do.
And that's with my kids as well. So I think that's why even though I don't raise my voice, I don't yell, they still say that I'm angry with them because of the frustration.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be physically yelling. If you're like really like a harsh look, or like it's a very blamey like a voice, like "What, Luke?" Like then I now if I do that, I know it's a harsh speech because the intention is harsh, right? Even if I'm not raising my voice, I'm like yelling, it's an intention. Like I'm trying to kind of hurt them in a way, right? It's kind of blaming them. When you blame them, you're almost trying to hurt them, make them feel bad. That's the intention in that moment, if you will.
Got it. Yeah, got it.
So let's see. And then I will give you a monthly review of how it has gone in this cycle of job. So it's good. 3 months, 2 months has passed now. So let's see. Now I will be going deeper into the projects. So it'll be fun to see whether all the 10 are going to work.
Okay.
If I fail, then no use.
Yeah.
So I've kept in an equanimity, not expecting to fail, not expecting to pass either, because they both bring the same kind of issue. Expectation is the cause of failure. So just do what you're doing right now and do what is promised.
And apply that 10.
And apply that 10 all the time. And that's what is there in that sutta also. He says, just look at this. This guy is a person who just wanders. And he happens to meet the Buddha. The sutta, what he has sent to you. What Aryu has sent to you.
Kanda Sutta.
Kanda Sutta.
Yeah.
And that guy, that person is just a wanderer. He just wanders around. And he happens to meet the Buddha. And then he asks him, in your dispensation, how do you teach to reach the higher? And he gives this 10. Okay.
Yeah, he used to follow a lot of random stuff.
Yeah.
But saying those are nonsense, right? Here's the real thing.
So then he says, what are you talking? So there's one, in that one verse is there, he says that I pour water 3 times in a day on my head. And then he says, and to do what? Purify myself. And he says that, who said you this? No, you can't talk to me like that. And then he explains all of this. And then he says, wow, this I have never known that I need to be doing this. I always felt that pouring water on my head is the best thing I can do. to absolve from sins. So he is one by one. So that would be the test. So it has happened. The test has started. So it is. I feel really happy that at least a test is there to really test, not for somebody, for myself, to see that how much I have transformed. Because I know both what I teach them on Vedanta also I know this also. So now knowing these two things still I fail. I don't think anybody can be even more ashamed than that, right? Not knowing is okay. Knowing only one thing is also okay. Knowing both the things, that too so much. So there is a sutta in which there is a person called as Potila. Okay. So that guy, what happens is that he remembers all his lives. Okay. Through his psychic power. And he goes to Gautama and he says that, Gautama, you know what I wanted to tell you. And he says, yeah, Potila, go ahead. He says that before you I have seen so many Buddhas. And after you, I'm going to see so many Buddhas. And I know everything by heart. So I can tell you exactly what you're going to say and how you're going to say. And then Buddha says, I have never seen a stupid person like you in my life. He says, why? It's not because you met me. You have met better people than me and they couldn't transform you. Okay. And you say that you know everything and yet you don't want to use it for yourself. Okay. So, and then, what his beauty is that whomever he teaches, they all become arhat. Okay. And then one of the bhikkhu will come and vouch in the assembly, and he stands and says that today whatever I am is because of Potila. And Potila's face gleams in joy and he says, and he is actually explaining it to the Buddha. Look how many people are appreciating me. And he thinks Buddha is going to call him and say that you've done a good job. He says, get out from this place. And he's shocked. He says that, then he utters this verse saying that before you I have seen so many Buddha, after you I'm going to see so many Buddhas and all that. And he says in the same tone, I have never seen such an idiot in my life who has seen better Buddha than me, but yet could not use it. If I were you, I would have used the medicine long time ago. And that hits him hard. Okay. And crying, he goes out. Okay. And he returns back in 6 months for the same debate. And this time, what Buddha does is that he sees him coming there and he says, not there, here. Now you come here. And he makes him sit next to him. And he says, now Potila, you have done what you're supposed to do. So it hit me hard long time ago when I read this sutta. It literally brought me to tears that a person might be knowing everything and can become dull-headed because he doesn't apply for himself. So I was thinking, if this situation comes to me sooner or later, I should not become like Potila. So this opportunity tells me that, that time has come to see whether I become something like that or not. If not, excellent. If yes, unfortunate.
Very good. I just want to say one last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tina, so the sila samadhi panya, right? Sila is the morality.
Yeah,
so if you practice on these 10, the meditation will get better.
Not better. You will immediately get what your samadhi is by 2 words, sama and adi. Sama is equal and adi is staying in that. You stay in that. Meaning when you meet people, you'll not get disturbed. When you meet a situation, you'll not get disturbed. When you see something, you'll not get disturbed, and that's called samadhi, right? So if we are able to do the 10 moral things what we discussed, then samadhi becomes stabilized. So you'll not get any one of them, and then you get wisdom, which is panya. So Buddha's thing is tripod. So sila, samadhi, panya. So the morality makes you to stay in samadhi, that is staying in an equanimous state or an equal state, and then that helps in wisdom. The more the mind is shaken, the lesser the wisdom. So wisdom then creates room for the, again, sila, which is nothing but morality, and again morality brings in a good amount of stability, and that stability gives you again wisdom. So it keeps on going till you become an arhat.
So today when you sit in meditation, the mind is so busy, right? Keeps busy like all the time. But if the sila is better, there'll be less noise, right? Because even in the day, it's less noise, right? So naturally when you're meditating, it's less noise. So you're more likely to experience good meditative states. And if that brings you joy, that's a positive cycle.
Okay. Wow.
So how do you test it out? When you meet your clients, when you meet people, if they feel very happy about you being there with them, that means your sila is working or your morality is working. If they feel irritated and you feel irritated along with them, that means your morality is not working. So when I'm in the office, I need to keep on checking with the people around me and here and there. And if they feel irritated, then that means my morality is not good. So the moment we fix it, it becomes upright.
You could apply to everyone around you, right? Not just the client, including your family. Like,
I just started with the client. Because family life is totally different. Because to get into the family life, it takes time. So first you do with outsiders, then you do with your family. Because there is a belongingness in the family. You feel they are your children. You feel that you have a husband. I feel I have a wife. So that has to go. Until that goes, the morality will not fit in.
Wow. Okay.
So I need to first work out with outsiders, where it's a very much neutral, right?
Right.
So the maximum thing that can happen with the company where I'm working is that they might say, we don't want your service. That's a max it can happen. But in my home, it can't happen like that. They can't tell me you are not required here anymore.
That's true.
Because we feel belonged. So we are not going to let it go. First, the morality has to work in outside. Then you start working at home.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good insight. Because when I was practicing Dhamma, I feel like it's very easy to be nice to strangers.
Yes.
Like even a stranger who treats me bad, I can be nice to him. Because it's very little, like, holding to like belonging, that kind of feeling. But even with family, even they're nice, I sometimes still get frustrated. That's why. So I understand better.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is how this equation works. So it is better that we try outside with your client and with your assistant and all that before you try on your children.
Okay.
So even the same in my case is that I need to try more in the office and then slowly try with my mother-in-law or my son and wife and neighbors and all that, because that equation keeps on changing, right? Especially the family equation keeps on changing. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, parents, and the wife and husband and children. It's not easy.
Yeah. I used to have a pretty bad relationship with my mother-in-law. So I was happy this year when I visited, I was even able to have a good relationship with her and have compassion toward her and then actually share a few tips with her too. So that's when I test it in real life, I see it's working, right? Because I used to, the moment I hear the sound, I'm already irritated. Like, because there's a lot of grudge built up over, the times, the disagreement with how to raise a kid and, the personality and that stuff. But this year when I visited, I can see that I care about her. I can see her more impartial. Not to say there's no frustration, but I can help her. It proves that it's making progress. So I was happy then.
Wow, that's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has come a long way. Actually, Aryu, if I can see, he has come a long way. And he has come it very short than what I used to take. So I really feel you all are better teachers than myself. Because I've taken more time than any one of you. To be honest, if I were to do a one-on-one comparison, you guys are far better.
Because you had too much fun in Las Vegas. No, just kidding.
Wherever it is, but I had fun.
You have
Right?
to reverse all that. It takes some time.
Yeah. So yeah, but when I see it is true. I mean, you guys are better, so that really motivates me to work harder. Especially when I talk to Aryu, I always feel this guy is better than me. To be honest.
No.
No, it's not like that. See, I have grown. I don't disagree with you. But if given the same situation and same age group, if I were to put myself, I was nowhere near anywhere. Totally lost in whatever fun things happening.
Yeah, because I've done far worse things and have far
I know that.
worse.
That also you have told me.
than I-
That also you have told me. I'm not saying that you have not done far worse things, but you have come back faster than what I have taken.
Such
But it
young
is,
age.
yeah.
Because I kind of see the futility of that. And I was so obsessed with something, I put 10 years into it.
Not only
and
that,
turned out not to work.
even if you see Gautama Buddha or Gautama, the amount of fun he has explained in many suttas, he explains that how the castle used to be in the summer, how in the winter, how in the rainy season, and how many, he says that I have never seen any man in my life had only women as company. My father used to ensure that I don't see any man, and the best of the women is there all the time. Okay, you can make out for yourself what all he would have done, but that's what. And then he says that I got disgusted with that. Right? So it's not that they didn't have, Buddha didn't have fun, or for that matter, Sariputta. If you read his story or the Moggallana story, you will really see that they were no different than what we are doing today. So it's not that we have to pinch ourselves and say that, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have done this, I've done that. It's okay. That's not a thing. But if you were to turn back and where you should be doing, then that's more important than feeling remorse of what all been done earlier. Doesn't matter. Especially for me and Aryu, because he has shared me a lot of things which I understand why he has shared it, why he has done it. So now that he's not doing it, very good progress.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and in a Discord group, there are so many people who have done much worse thing than what Aryu has done. So we have all kind of people. I met one porno addict, and that guy is nuts. He requires that addiction 24/7. He doesn't sleep. He literally doesn't. All the time he is hooked onto internet. And he wanted to know how to apply Buddha Dhamma. And I didn't know where to start for him. Okay, and yeah, so that's a funny thing.
Maybe, cool. Maybe it's time. It's 12:30 here.
Yes, I know that. It is one. My wife has still not come to ask that whether you want to have lunch or you don't want to have lunch or What's your plan?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So much.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Lata, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
by the way,
Yeah,
by the
you
way,
too.
last question. Aryu, you wanted to ask her something. You wanted to ask
Oh.
Lata
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
There's one question because, well, I was kind of curious because you manage a pretty big organization, right? Because even a few years ago when I started on spirituality, I don't feel any motivation for promotion or anything like that. I was wondering how your experience of practicing spirituality as well as being like a managing like being an important role. What does it feel like? Is there any conflict, or you are able to bring it more in like a natural way of,
Yeah, so I was also very ambitious. I also wanted to grow in my career earlier. But for the last, until 2018, I would say, I had that kind of feeling. So after that, I don't have that ambition that I have to grow. So I don't.
because you're an important role, right? It keeps
Yeah. So it comes to me. But then when I sometimes there are in the organization, there are a lot of things happening, and there are many things which you don't like also happen, and then you may also have to do something to get out of it. So sometimes I think, should I let it go or should I fight for it? And then sometimes I feel I have to fight because there is one team behind me. So I have to. They are not spiritual like me, so they also want their promotion, their roles, and so on. So if I don't fight, thinking that I am spiritual, they will lose out. So then I think in that way, and then I try to play my role over there. It's not very easy. So sometimes I forget, but then it stopped giving me those emotional pulls that I don't face. Even though, then actually this week there was one experience which I want to share. There was one another guy on product management. So he was trying to do something of our job in my team's job, and he was doing it good actually. And then initially I was getting kind of irritated. Why my team member is not doing that? Then I thought, okay, I told him that is your job that guy is doing. So you have to sing and then not allow him to do something like that. I told. Then I was wondering, why should I do that? Why don't I co-create with him? So I got him and this my team member together, and then said that you are doing a good job. Whatever you have done is good. And then we built on that. So then all the conflicts from me also went away, and the conflict from the other person also went away. So then I was also thinking, whatever desires you have if you don't have any desires in you, then whatever is working outside, you just aid it. So that's what I was trying to do.
Yes. Yeah. So like in organization, it's not like you want to grow or not, right? Your boss expects you to grow too. Like,
right.
And then people under you would want to promote, and if you stay, they don't have space. So you're like almost forced to go.
You are forced to do it. So sometimes I feel that conflicts because throughout the day I have meetings and I'll be filled with all these office related thoughts, and there's not much thoughts for this spiritual thing. And then when I try to see whenever I remember, try to put it that way. And sometimes I feel when you are sitting in a meeting where a lot of people from different countries are sitting, you see these videos like this. And if I don't have to talk, I will look and then say, okay, all this consciousness is trying to get some things done. It doesn't matter which body does it. So I like that. I kind of think in my mind. It doesn't come very naturally to me, but I have to put effort to bring that. So I keep thinking in those directions. And then sometimes I think, okay, there are these 5 elements or 4 elements sitting, and there's other is no different from me. So if you talk to any kind of people, they have the same kind of emotions. So it's no different. So that way I don't have that conflict in my mind right now because I am not ambitious. But then I also saw that things come to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's good to hear, because in one sutta, I think it's the Metta Sutta, the Buddha said there should be relatively light on duty. I think that's one of the things he said of the practice. But I saw you, and then you're doing very well spiritually. At least the note you said how you should endeavor like that inspired me. So I was thinking maybe it's not as much conflict, because for me, I always think it's a conflict. So I would put off my work as much as possible to work on the spiritual. But to see you, I see like maybe it's not as much, right? So I'm curious.
Yeah. So I think the conflict is there in the mind. So you just have to adjust your mind accordingly. It's not that sometimes you can observe your heart sometimes constricting because you don't like something, and sometimes it expands when you like something. And I also feel, why should it constrict and why should it expand? It should stay wherever it is. So I observe that actually. And I have not got over 100% of that, but still some things exist like that.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
That's inspiring.
Yeah. She is a very inspiring person. If you physically meet also. And then Aryu had one question. Maybe he should be asking it. How did she hire me? That was his question.
Oh, the question is like, because Vilas was saying earlier, he's bloating about he become a contractor to employee without the interview. I said, because that was your boss. That's why. And he said no. He said that there's an interview and there's a story of sort.
Yeah. See, for me, he's also my teacher, and he's also an employee working on the organization I'm heading. So I need to keep this separate, and I should not get influenced. So I ensured that he's not reporting to me directly, and he's also not interviewed by me directly. And I also have told my managers in my team to decide whether you need Vilas or not. So I said, and he was also discussing salary with me. I said, don't discuss salary compensation with me. I will not get into it. So discuss with HR. So I don't want to get into that conflict because I feel I'll get biased. So I let all the other people do it and not myself get involved.
No.
So,
not that, Lata. So his question was, I put that she is my super boss, and then he said something. I said that I was interviewed earlier, and hers was the last interview. First interview. So hers was the last interview. So I was interviewed by everyone, around for taking a consultant, and she had to take the call whether to hire me or not. So I said to Ayu that, why ask me? She's joining, so you ask her only. On what basis did you hire the first time, not the second time?
Okay. The first time. So actually, I got into this role in 2018. So before me, there was one other person who was already talked with Vilas, telling that we need one Agile consultant and so on. So once I came in, I have a very good background on Agile already. So then I was thinking this Agile consultant business will not work. And I said, I refused to even meet Vilas. But was behind me telling that there is one person whom I met in PMI and all that. I said, no, I don't think you need any Agile consultant. Again, but was very persistent. So he came and gave me a little bit more information. And then he gave me one hint. He said, he's a very spiritual person. Then I said, okay, I'll meet him. Then I met him. So then I met him, and then I asked, I think 1 hour, I asked him Agile questions to see whether he is only having theory or is having also practical knowledge. So I talked to him for quite some time. I think 1.5 hours. I talked to him on concepts, and not only concept, how practically you implement it. So then I thought, okay, let's try out. And then even then I was not so convinced. I said 3 months, 6 months, like that I have extended like that. So that's how I hired him. So I got attracted because Bud told me he's a spiritual person. And then I got
Bud was involved. Yeah. I know Bud is consistent. I can tell that from the way he's questioning and stuff.
Yeah. But it's the one, because we used to talk about Vedas and spirituality, but earlier, before Vilas joined, so in the lunch table and all. So he also knows that I have an interest. I also know he has an interest. So then somebody was coming with her same background. So I was interested in at least talking to him. So that's how I hired him.
That's good.
Good.
Good to know.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Good to meet you, both of you.
Yeah, good
Thank
to
you.
meet you too.
And then
Thank you.
one last
Thank you.
thing is that Aryu knows Tina through his teeth.
Okay.
She's my dentist.
Yeah, so everything has a reason, right? So you
Yeah,
have to all
everything
come
has a reason.
together. So
Yes.
Yeah.
So the nature transpires every meetings. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Tina was already seeking at that moment. She feels the pain and then she wants some way out. So as long as you have the intention, and then it'll come, right? But it's important to be clear on the intention. The intention has to be clear.
And then somebody appears to teach.
Yes. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really seeking for an answer or a way to live my life correctly, and I was kind of yearning for it. So then Ari, you show up, and then Vila, and then you.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night
Thank
and
you, Vilas.
yeah, good day to you, Lata. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, good day. Next time, let's keep it shorter.
Yeah, sure. Bye.
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 Thank you, Vila. Thank you, Ari.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.